Hi there, welcome to the second tutorial about programming. In the last tutorial we explained a very simple idea, which is swapping variables. Now we are also explaining another simple thing. People might find it a little bit hard to do at first, especially people who are new to programming. And that is how to convert an equation into a program that the computer can understand. So here I wrote a number of examples. So for example, you might be asked to write an equation. For example, the first one here is a equal x plus y multiplied by 2, or z equal v plus q, or you might want to solve this equation, or you might get a question like this: find the area of a triangle, find the monthly salary, assuming you have the salary per year, okay, and finding percentage of failed student and stuff like that. Now in all these kind of problems, and by the way, we are going to solve a number of these, we will not solve all of them. In all of these, you can use a very simple technique. Okay, usually when you write any kind of program, you try to break it down to a number of simple steps. Okay, these are very easy to do, so the steps are very simple. The steps to solve a program, to write a program, let's say to write a program, you need to identify three things. First, what is the input? Okay. Second is what am I required to do? And the last thing is what are the results? Okay, so let's look at these three steps and think about them for a while. What's the input? Tells you what kind of information your program needs in order to do the computation. Now, in this equation, for example, when you want the computer to solve it, or if you want to solve this equation by hand and you want to get the value of a, obviously you need to know what? You need to know x and y. Okay, it's similar here. So when you think about it, what's the input? In this case, for solving this equation, your input is x and y. Okay, so this is what I mean by what's the input. You must identify all the information, all the variables that your program need to know before start working and computing stuff. Okay, so this is the first step. The second step is, what am I required to do here? So obviously, since this is a very simple program, or actually these are very simple problems, you are trying to get the value of a, and here it's just an equation, so you need to calculate these. So you can just write these and solve the value. Here you are having a little bit of more complex equation. Sometimes what you need to do is not straightforward, like here, like in here. Here you are getting an equation which is easy and straightforward to do, but here find the area of a triangle, and in this case what you need to know, the area of triangle is half the base multiplied by the height of that triangle. So basically you need to know how to calculate the area of the triangle. You need to know the equation to find that, to calculate that, and then you need to use it. Okay, so this is what I mean, what am I required to do. In this case it means what's the equation, or what kind of processing I must do to get the result. Now, the last step, what are the results? What does that mean? So basically here I can calculate A, right? Or in this I can calculate Z, or I can, for example, calculate the area. What I mean here, what are the results? I mean here, what do I have to show to the end user? Okay, uh, your program will be useless if you, for example, computed the sum of a million number and you didn't display that sum. So here, and in these simple examples, you need to display A to the end user, you need to display Z to the end user, you need to display Y to the end user, you need to display the area here. Okay, so these are simple problems, but they fit into this simple partitioning scheme. Okay, so again, the steps: specify your input or prepare everything for processing, and when all the data is available, go to the second step, do the processing, and the final step, what are the results, which means what are the results that should be displayed. What are the results that should be displayed? Okay, so now let's try this out and see how to do it. Okay, so let's start with the first one: a equal x plus y multiplied by 2. Now we are going to write this program. Select file, new project. Okay, and let me try console application with VB, and here let's say that this is gonna be the first one. It's console application 1. Okay, now here system, wait a minute, console dot write line test. Okay, so just in case you don't know what that is, now I'm gonna run this. Okay, I might need to pause this for a while. So system dot console dot read line, that's it. Okay, so system dot console dot write line is going to display a single line of text into the console window, and read line is gonna wait for me to enter some text. Okay, I'm using this in order to make sure that this window stays so that we can see what's happening. So this is just a test for console application. Okay, so now let's start solving the equation, computing the equation a equal x plus y multiplied by 2. Now, so first thing to do here, what is the input? What is the input? And the input here, it's x and y. Okay, so here, since I need to know what x is and I need to know what y is, these values are unknown right now. I am going to enter these through the keyboard, or maybe I am going to read these from the disk or any other device. In that case, I need to define them as variables. So I would say dimension x as, let's say, double, dimension y as double. Okay, now I am going to read these values. In this case, I am going to say x equal double dot parse. Let's see, system dot console dot read line. Okay, so a double dot par this will convert the string being read here into a double value. Okay, and obviously I need to provide some friendly message. So system dot cancel dot write, enter the value of x. Okay, it's important to provide these messages so that the end user can know what he should enter. Okay, and next, system.cancel.write, enter the value of y. Okay, so these are the input. Equal double dot parse system.cancel dot read line. Okay, so now this is the input and it's ready. We are ready to do the work. Now we know all the side. Okay, we just need to know what a is. Since we are going to calculate it, this means we are going to need a variable. So this part from the processing here, so dimension a as double, and here a equal x plus y, multiply this by 2. So as you can see, for equation it's very straightforward. You just write the equation as it is. Okay, now finally, what is the output? Now the output is that since I am calculating a, this means I need to see what a is. Answer is a. So in that case, I should do this. System.cancel.write line, the value of a is, and this is gonna be a.toString. Okay, close that, and finally this is it. So if you look at the program right now, this is a friendly message, but what's the output here? So this part we are preparing the information, this part is being used to perform the computation, and the last part is being used in order to display the output. So let's run this. Okay, so here what's the value of x? Let's say, for example, it's 10. What's the value of y? It's also 10, so the output should be 40. And as you can see, it's very straightforward. Okay, it's not that difficult. The missing information are being declared as variables, and you are gonna read that or enter that through the user interface. If you are using a console, a Windows application, not a console application, then you are gonna get these values from text boxes. Maybe you can get these values from the file system. It's as simple as that. Okay, so we have just solved the first problem. Let's work on the next example in order to make sure that we are understanding this concept. Okay, so the next one is very easy, very straightforward. Z equal v plus q. So it's also almost the same. So I'm gonna start a new project here. It's gonna be a console application again, and now so I'm gonna write this quickly. Console.write line, compute, what was the equation again? Z equal v plus q. Okay, z equal v plus q. Okay, so now so here the input. Okay, obviously the unknowns here are v and q, and this means we are going to read these values from the screen in this example. So dimension v as double, dimension q as double, and then system.cancel.write, enter the value of v, okay, and then v equal double dot parse system.cancel.readline, and then system.cancel.write enter the value of q, and next we have q equal double dot parse, and here enter the value of sorry, what am I doing? Read line. System.console.read line. Okay, so now we prepared the values. Processing the second part, so dimension z as double, and I can do this right away. It's v plus q, and finally display the result, and here system.console.writeLine the value of z, and I'm gonna use z.toString. Okay, and system.console.readLine. Okay, so if you look at this, you will find it's almost exactly the same as the previous one. The only difference is the message being displayed here, the names of the variable, the messages are different. The processing here is a little bit different because our equation is different, of course. And now if we run this one here, the value of v, let's say it's 10, of q it's 2, so the output is 12. Now there's something important I want you to know here. It doesn't matter what name inside the program is, as long as you are doing everything correctly. So instead of using v, I am gonna use here the letter m. Okay, and I am going to use the value m here, and I'm gonna use the value of m here. Okay, so let me repeat that a little bit slowly so that you understand what I'm doing here. The equation says that z equal v plus q. Now this is the equation as it appears to us. For the computer doesn't care what the name of the variable is. It doesn't care what values and calculations are being made. What values and calculations are being done. It will run everything in a systematic manner. Now here, since we are using m, our equation is going to be actually m plus q. Okay, but this is only happening inside the computer. What we are going to see is that instead of m, we are going to assume that this is not m. We are going to assume that it is v. So we will not feel the difference. What I'm trying to say here is that what you see in the equation don't necessarily have to be exactly the same inside the program. Okay, so here we have v, instead we have m here. Okay, let's run this. Okay, so here the value of v is 9 and the value of q is 1, the output is 10, so everything is working fine. And you might think, okay, this is v, this is q, I'm getting 10. Inside the program the names are different, it's m and the q. Okay, so just keep this in mind. The name, you can give any kind of name to your variable. The important thing is that you remember what each name stands for. So here in this example, m is actually stands for v. Okay, this might seem a little bit confusing, but over time you'll find this you'll find that it makes sense. Okay. Okay, so this is the second example. Let's take another example again. So let's say here, let's take a look at this one, y equal x squared over z plus 3. This one is also similar. Okay, so I'm going to start a new project. This is the third one. Okay, so system.console.writeLine calculating what was the equation? Let me see. Y equals z square over z, y equal z square over what, x square over z, I'm sorry, x square over z and plus 3, for example. Okay, now so here, now what's the input in this case? So what are the unknowns? The unknowns in this equation are x and z. So right now, what is the input? Okay, so dimension x is double, dimension y is double, and in this case system dot console dot write enter x, and then sorry, this is z. Okay, and then z, let's say x and z and z. Okay, now I'm using one message. Okay, so it's the same, x equal system dot console dot read line, this should be double dot parse. Okay, and z equal double dot parse system dot console dot read line. Okay, now we have all the input that we need to do. What is to do the processing? Now, how do you find the square of a number? This is another thing. When you want to solve a problem, you'll have to do a number of tricks in order to solve any kind of problem you might face. So in this case, how do you find the square of a number? There is a function that gives you the square, but let's say you don't know how to calculate you don't know the function that will calculate the square for you. Okay, so basically this is a trivial example. What you can do is, in order to get the x square, you can just multiply x by itself. So here dimension y as double equal x multiplied by x, and then I divide this by z, finally add 3 to it. Okay, now the reason I am doing this, this is not wrong, and also you can do this here to power 2. It's part of the language, but the idea behind this is that in case the language doesn't provide you with a tool to a function that will solve the problem for you, you will have to think, what can you do to solve the problem yourself? You might need to break the equation into a number of smaller problems and solve these smaller parts one at a time. You might change the way the equation is being calculated and stuff like that. So what I'm trying to say, don't think that there is only one way to solve a problem. There is always many ways to solve it. Okay, this is a little bit of trivial, this is a trivial example, but you know, it's just I'm just showing you what how you can do it. Let me write the other format here just in case. So I'm just commenting it here. This is to the power 2, and finally the output. Okay, so system console write line, the value of y is, and y dot to string, that's it. And finally system dot console read line, that's it. It's as simple as that. And let's run this and see. So it's asking me to enter the value of x and y. So x is going to be 10, So its square is going to be 100, and z is going to be 2, so this will give you 50 plus 3, so 53. It's working correctly. Okay, yeah, if you want to try the other technique, just remove these lines and you can try the other technique. So now we solve this question. Now again, if you look at this, the same steps is being repeated. What's your input? We are reading that input. What kind of processing do you need to do? It's here. And what kind of output do you need to display? It's here. Okay. Now let's start with the real important part. When you hear something like this, I consider this is more important than the others because usually you will not get the question as simple as this one. In many cases, in real world scenario, you will be faced with, for example, someone explaining you what's happening, and you will have to think about the problem and think how you can come up with the equation, let's say the equation or the technique that could solve the problem. So basically this is a very simple problem. So how do you solve it? Okay, so this is find the area of triangle. Let's try to solve this, and for the others I'm gonna depend on you to do it. Okay, so consider it as a homework if you'd like to. So this is your project, and okay, so here comes sorry, system console right line computing, sorry, the area of triangle. Okay, that's it. Okay, so first, what is the input? Okay, so first thing to ask yourself, what's the input? The problem here is that you don't know what the equation is, and because of that you don't know what's the input. Okay, so sorry. So the problem with this one is that you don't know what the equation is, and because of that you don't know what the input. In that case, what should you do? You must figure out what that equation is, and basically for simple stuff usually you will have to memorize this. You should have studied this in primary school and, you know, remember these stuff. So basically the area of a triangle is 0.5 multiplied by base multiplied by height. Okay, so this is how you compute the area. Okay, which means you can write it like this: a equal 0.5 multiplied by b multiplied by h, and b here is the base and h is the height. So in that case, or in this case, the input, sorry, input is b and h. Okay, and b stands for the base, h stands for the height. So now let's start reading these. So system.console.write, enter the base. Okay, and now sorry, okay, and then dimension b as double equal double dot parse system.console.readline. Okay, so we are reading the base and we are going to store it in B, and the same goes for the height. So system.console.write, enter the height, and here dimension h as, let's make it capital H, as double equal double dot parse system.console.readline. Okay, so as you can see, all this part is related to what is related to specifying what the input is and preparing all the information. So here now we have the processing. Okay, and the processing here is that dimension A, it's for area, has double equal 0.5 multiplied by B multiplied by H. Okay, so finally display the result, and in this case system console pipeline, the area is, and it's gonna be a dot to string. Finally system dot console read line. Okay, so as you can see here, it's also the same technique. This part is being used to prepare the information, this part is being used to read the information, and this part is being used to display the output. Okay, the important thing is that what are the variables that you are gonna define? Well, these are the variables that you don't know what their values are. Okay, and in this case these are B and H. Okay, so you are going to define them, you are going to either compute these or, for example, read them from the screen, as in this example. Next step is to do the processing. Okay, as you can see here, this is the equation we are computing here, and finally you must identify what are the result or what's the output, and then display that result to the end user. Okay, so let's try this out and see if it works. So enter the base, it's gonna be 10, enter the height is 20, and I guess 20 multiplied by 5 is 100. Yep, and it's working correctly. Okay, so this is how you can solve such a kind of problem. Okay, so find the monthly salary. I'm gonna just discuss this, I'm not gonna solve it here. So this is also a very simple a problem. Now find the monthly salary. I didn't give information about this, so here in that case we are gonna assume that we know the annual salary. Okay, now how do you find the salary per month? This is very obvious, you just divide by 12. So this is your equation. Your equation is M equal A for annual salary divide by 12. And now we figured out the equation, we do all the steps the same way. What's the input? Is gonna be the A, which is the annual salary, and what's the processing? I just gave you the equation, and what's the output is the M, which is the monthly salary. Now the percentage of failed students. So now how do you compute a percentage of something? The percentage is also easily computed. It's the number of students who failed divided by the total number of students multiplied by 100. Okay, so after you write that, you must identify what's the input, do the processing, display the output. Now this one is also easy to do. Okay, I won't explain it. As for this one, okay, I am not gonna I don't want you to do it because it's not as easy as the others. Okay, so I'm gonna delete it here. Let me delete that. Okay, now the last one, compute the profit for selling 10 cars. Now obviously when you want to compute the profit of something, you must identify the price that as the original price of the car, and the price that you sold that car at, and yeah, and we are going to assume that the price for all the cars being sold are is the same. Okay, so think about it and try to solve this one. Okay, yeah, so this is how you convert an equation or a simple math problem into a program. It's very easy, very straightforward. I hope you'll find this useful. If you have more questions, send them to me. Also check out the website mka-soft.com for more tutorials and how to. Have a nice day. Bye bye.